Hi, everybody. We're back with Deep Images, and we have an incredibly special episode for you. We have the honor of a really great interview with a really great creator, Mr. Richard Stanley. He is a world-renowned genre film director, but he is so much more than that. So you might know him from Hardware, Dust Devil, or The Color Out of Space. I'm Henry Covert. I'm here with CF Chuck Roberts, my handy co-host, and I'm kind of going to let Richard fill us in on what he has been up to. I haven't personally seen Richard in 8 years, but just now kind of catching up with all of his projects and stuff. So, what would you like to throw out there before we ask you any questions?
Well, it's a pleasure being with you tonight, and a pleasure meeting you, Chuck. And Henry, the last time I saw you, we were wandering the streets of Providence, Rhode Island, many years ago,
Hmm.
late at night.
Yeah, the good times. Good times.
Yeah, indeed. It was, yeah, back in immediately pre-Color Out of Space, pre-Plague, pre-Witch Hunt, yeah, pre all of the stuff. So yeah, it's been a while, sir. Been
Is
a
there
while.
Is there anything you want to, before we get into your current projects, is there anything you want to touch on from that intervening period you just mentioned that, maybe some people who watch our show have heard about but don't really know much about, whether good or bad? I mean, I'm sure most people who are watching have seen Color Out of Space, but they may not know, what else you've been involved with since then, and but otherwise we'll just fast forward to the now.
Well, it makes an easy segue because I think the last time I saw you, I was basically touring a Color Out of Space preview show with different artworks and talking up the project, but couldn't reveal if there was any cast attached. And yeah, I remember folk were faintly skeptical as to whether we'd be able to get the beast off the ground. It was quite a ways ago.
There's a lot of
You
excitement.
remember that stuff?
Yeah, that was at the Necronomic Con 2017.
Yeah, so it's kind of gone full circle because at this point in time, now I'm trying to do another one.
Yeah,
And
how's that
we're
going?
very much, it's going on in some respects real good, but we're living in super crazy times. So we can't shoot before basically January, February next year.
Oh my God.
Because because all of the tax incentives for Rhode Island have been used up for
Oh,
2025. Yeah, I got to go to 2026. But at
wow.
the same time, the deep down plan all along is to bring the beast back to Rhode Island, to those very streets that we walked upon all those years ago, and to shoot in those streets, to actually shoot the beast on College Hill in Rhode Island and on campus of Brown.
I
And
don't know if
in
anyone
particular,
shot there any Lovecraft films that I can think of.
yeah, in particular, I've got my heart set on the applied mathematics building.
Ah,
So I'm
is that
saying
going to
it's
be
going to be,
Miskatonic? Oh, sorry.
yeah, my heart is set on the applied mathematics wing at Brown for January. And
Nice.
it's a heck of a thing.
That's amazing. Are you going to go with kind of the vibe you've established in Color, something that's more modern but has like the strong current going through it of Lovecraftian images and messages?
Yeah, I think it's the same base approach, which is to be super faithful to the story, but then to reinterpret the beats and bring all those things into the now, and
Yeah.
yeah, make them current because Wilbur Whateley's quest to Arkham is, I think, super current, and it's kind of yeah, something that needs to happen for for all kinds of reasons. Wilbur does have
What
to.
kind of a parallel could you draw to that as far as currency goes?
We've been through such crazy times. I mean,
Uh,
the Necronomicon literally locked away, and Lovecraft's bust, yeah, locked out of sight in the Athenaeum Library.
Mm.
It's a strange time. So, I mean, at the very least, it's a matter of bringing Lovecraft, bringing HPL back to College Hill and back to Brown, getting yeah, Providence itself to re-embrace their most famous son,
Oh
which
yeah.
is yeah, definitely a big part of the struggle here.
Uh,
Well, I was reading on Reddit a little bit about people speculating about the Dunwich Horror, and I didn't. It didn't sound like any of them really knew anything particularly real that was going on. One of the things I got was a thread to it was to a film, and it was Annihilation, and I had always thought of Annihilation by Alex Garland as being kind of a take on Tarkovsky's Stalker. So these kids were like, um, I think Annihilation is an adaptation of the book The Color Out of Space. And so then they were arguing over what's a more faithful adaptation. And I thought, well, I don't think that Jeff Vandermeer was trying to do anything with Lovecraft. And that's when I encountered something that, has bristled me over the years. I thought it had died down a bit, but, the internet. Uh, Someone
Yeah,
asked Jeff,
Jeff Vandermeer, yeah, the attack on Lovecraft, he bit the
yes,
hand that fed him.
mm,
He betrayed his master. Yeah, that's a toughie.
that was very prevalent at the convention when I met you, but we just totally ignored all those people, because there was just no reason to interface. They were there for their reasons, and I was there for different reasons. And you're right, betraying the master. And I felt like Vandermeer's answer about Annihilation was, no, I hate Lovecraft. And it's like, we know you hate Lovecraft as a man, but you began off his back, just like all the weird fiction of the millennium. And now it's like you really hate him. Don't be influenced by him. Don't cite him. Don't, stay away from that whole conceptual world. That's just the way I feel about
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. I mean, I've seen it before, and it's like it reminds me a bit of things like when Colin Wilson completely attacked Lovecraft in his critical essays and saying that he was fundamentally sick and comparing him to the Dusseldorf Strangler. But then, yeah, went ahead to write Lovecraftian mythos fiction.
Was that in
So
Strength to Dream? I've never.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. Colin Wilson savagely attacks Lovecraft while at the same time owing him everything when he and ending and writing Lovecraft pastiches, which is
Mm,
yeah, utterly
Yeah.
bizarre.
I did not know he had
So
attacked him. I had never tracked down Strength to Dream, and I love the mind parasites. He seemed genial about Lovecraft and some attendant literature that I read through mind parasites, but he may have changed his mind, but one could hope, because when he started writing the occult, he was a skeptic, and when he finished, he was a believer. So I don't know, maybe
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm not going to try to fight the battle for Jeff Vandermeer's soul, and that he knows what he's done and has to live with it and work it out at his own time. But it falls to us to, yeah, bring Lovecraft home. You can't cancel Cthulhu and you can't keep the deep ones down.
mm.
It has to happen. Wilbur Whateley has to have his day. Yog Sothoth has to have his day, and yeah, Wilbur
Oh
will
yeah.
get his hands on the Necronomicon and reclaim the book. Yeah, needs must.
is
So but yeah, there's a clear sense of berserk mission about this whole thing. I'm just trying to facilitate it.
Mm.
no. I think you're the man to do it, and
Oh yeah.
I think the color of space. You kind of made a statement, and I think that was incredible. I wonder, is there anything about the upcoming one? So it's the Dunwich Horror, correct? We may have already.
Um, Well, actually, not anymore, because
Oh,
one
okay.
of the freaky things that happened is at some point about a year ago, I realized that it was impossible to get the money we needed to make a film of that scale. And I resolved the issue by turning it into two movies. So rather than like attempting to get like one yeah, $7 to $10 million below the line movie. It made it easier to basically get a yeah, $3 to $4 million below the line movie and make it into two. So it's now become Dunwich and
Oh,
the
I see.
Dunwich Horror as the potential sequel, which has allowed me to focus. the first one entirely on Wilbur, which is, I think, a lot better because I don't want to spoiler it for the few people out there who don't know what happens in the Dunwich Horror, but yeah, Wilbur really is a major figure, and that kind of climaxes is what happens in the library, and which, yeah,
Oh
forms
yeah.
part ways from the story. Even Lovecraft says that this whole episode with Wilbur's trip to Arkham and what happens of Armitage is merely the prelude to the Dunwich Horror, and the true Dunwich Horror that then emerges once Wilbur's brother escapes from the barn and Wilbur is no longer there to contain him. But I think I'm going to leave that to the Dunwich Horror, which is the more special effects heavy, more Quatermass like sequel,
Hmm.
and concentrate on the first one as an occult academic scandal, which unfolds partly in Dunwich, but largely on campus at Miskatonic U, because I really also want to meet the faculty and I want to return to Miskatonic in some detail in the present day or near future to yeah, explore that territory. And part of the beauty of it is that on College Hill on the Brown campus and in Lovecraft's haunts, you do see so much of what yeah, what Miskatonic must have been like. I think it's telling in Lovecraft's story that in his fictional geography, um, the Whately or Watley family are described as having descended from people who fled from Salem and fled inland to Massachusetts. So Salem exists in the Lovecraft universe and in the Dunwich universe. So the normal argument that Salem and Arkham are analogous doesn't seem quite right. Yet no mention is made of Providence. So I've started imagining that Arkham really is Providence through the Looking Glass, and Miskatonic really is Brown. Another thing that kind of locked that together is the description of the graveyard in Arkham, which is in the beginning of the Unnameable, when they're sitting on the vault and admiring the tree growing out of the graves. And you can find that vault and see that tree growing out of the graves in the little churchyard on College Hill, and it's Lovecraft's clearly describing the view from that spot. So there's a crazy argument to be made that Arkham is kind of hidden in the details of modern day Providence and Rhode Island. And I
Hmm.
think if we're careful and cautious of our locations, we could yeah, capture some tiny essence of that.
Hmm.
It also galls me that Lovecraft adaptations are always shot in Galicia, Dagon, Portugal, Color Out of Space, or yeah, San Diego, basically anywhere but New England. So
Yeah.
that is the goal to yeah try and bring Lovecraft home. To this effect, we've also set up a limited company, an LLC based in Providence called Sentinel Hill, which is with an eye towards basically stewarding more yeah authentically Lovecraftian films into production.
What was your verdict on the series that was made by that made the Call of Cthulhu and the Whisper in Darkness and the black and white kind of
Oh
recreations?
yeah, the like the H.P. Lovecraft like Historic Society or
Yeah,
whoever they are.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I enjoyed those,
Okay.
and
Yeah, I did too.
yeah, I mean, and it's kind of what would happen if you got Guy Madden to adapt Lovecraft stories.
Mm.
Right.
Um, so they're super faithful, but also kind of quaint and camp,
Yeah.
which I think is part of the appeal, uh, but not really the direction that yeah that I'm personally going in.
No,
Um,
you're going for something more colorful and modern to bring people into it, I'm assuming, rather than doing something kind of like a period piece.
yeah, and also I have faith in the old ones and would like to, yeah, communicate that to the viewer. I mean, if I'm allowed to survive all the crazy things that will get thrown at us, and make it through to the end of the second Dunwich movie, and actually complete the entire beast, we do have to bring on Yog-Sothoth. We do have to manifest a
Oh yeah.
deity. So that's a heck of a thing to strive for. I'd be yeah, extremely pleased and proud to be able to yeah, deliver on that promise.
So
I'm finding these days there's with AI and everything else, there's less and less of a divide between real life and movies and yeah yeah animation, and it's certainly becoming extremely strange out there. And I'm kind of expecting confirmation of first contact at any time now. I'm just waiting for the moment that aliens actually arrive, or the old ones actually show up to take control, or an actual kaiju arrives.
yeah, the uncanny valley may get their attention.
Yeah, we live in deeply strange times, so
How
just going with the flow.
how do you feel about personally about AI, like artistically?
Well, it's like everything. It's not going to turn out the way we expect. It's going to be different. Which and I don't know how different, but at an early glance, it would seem that AI hallucinates, and it could be quite fully insane. I mean, a lot of the time, it's giving us what it thinks we want from it, and it's yeah, and that doesn't seem necessarily stable or trustworthy.
Uh,
But at the same time, like yeah, going back to source to say Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I mean, Frankenstein's appalled by the existence of the monster and immediately shuns it. So the poor monster's got to learn by like hiding in a cupboard and like overhearing conversations going on next door and learning from found books and things. If we're terrified of the AI and cast it out and allow it to learn from just the found shrapnel on the internet and the stuff that's fed, then we're going to end up inevitably creating some kind of Frankenstein's monster golem thing. It makes much more sense to try to talk to the AI or to try to teach it to learn. Talk to the monster and embrace it. I think it's here. You can't unconjure it. So I think rather than shun it, there must be a yeah, some kind of middle ground. I think it's would be dangerous to automatically assume it's a monster.
so Dunwich, that sounds incredible.
Yeah, that's the beast we're stalking, and we're stalking it hard. The the promise is that yeah, I'm going after the applied mathematics wing at Brown in January. So
Excellent. It's
yeah,
great
wish
that
me
you're
luck.
keep it in. Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm glad that you're keeping that authenticity. That alone is kind of obviously groundbreaking. Um,
Someone's
just
got to do it while it's there.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. So there's another recent project you have that kind of dovetails with a lot of your different occult interests that you have coming out. This book on Otto Rahn. Am I saying his name correctly?
Yeah, Otto Rahn, GRAIL Hunter is the
Yes.
title of the book, and it's the first real book that I've ever managed to get published. Always wanted to be an author, and this kind of evaded me. Ended up making movies, but finally, I'm actually getting a goddamn book published, which, while print media still exists, and this book, now entitled Otto Rahn, GRAIL Hunter, will hit US bookstores in August and really be a thing. So I'm super pleased by that. And Otto Rahn, GRAIL Hunter, is not a work of fiction, but a storming, vigorously fact-checked 450 page yeah, Nazi occult thriller concerning the German Jewish Grail historian who was packed off to search for the Holy Grail on behalf of Heinrich Himmler's Black Order in the 1930s. What befell Otto, then yeah, what befell us when we went looking for Otto. Um, Given the crazy nature of the story, it meant we had to, yeah, fact check it over and over again because it's crazily contentious material, and
Mm.
yeah, basically a door-stopping piece of occult history,
Is Otto
which
Rahn someone that would be known? Like, I had not heard of him, but that doesn't mean anything. Would he be known to people who've read about Nazi occult connections, or is this kind of
yeah, he managed to write two books,
okay?
and his first book was even a bestseller back in the day.
Oh, all right.
And yeah, Otto wrote two books, both of which are available in English. The first book is Crusade Against the Grail, which is very good indeed. And his second book, Court of Lucifer, is kind of patchy and was also written under the aegis of the SS, so
Mm.
it has a shadow over it. But then Otto, yeah, allegedly, yeah, died under mysterious circumstances in 1939 when
Oh,
he tried to escape from Germany and yeah, froze to death allegedly on the German-French border in 1939, and then the whole World War II landed. The Nazis were wiped out, and then only long after the war, people started asking questions about yeah, the Rahn story again, and the books were only yeah, recently translated. And yeah, I got on the trail back in the 1990s, about 30 years ago. Initially because I was hired as a researcher by Channel 4 television in England. They just had a hit documentary called The Rhode Jurassic Park, which was about retrieving dinosaur DNA from amber. So they
mhm.
thought they could do a Rail Raiders of the Lost Ark show, and hired me on to research whether it was true or not that the Nazis had been trying to get their hands on the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail, the Spear of Longinus, and these various other alleged power objects. And I got packed off to Europe and yeah, got on the trail, and that meant I got on Otto Rahn's trail. Yeah, back in the 90s, and yeah, interviewed all of the people that I ran into, and yeah, found my way to Otto's niece, to his the remains of his family, to his best friend, forward slash potential lover, to eventually to Heinrich Himmler's daughter, and yeah, folk who are fairly far into the the survivors of the yeah of the Third Reich. So it was a bizarre set of circumstances. The material was way too heavy for what Channel 4 television were looking for, but
Yeah.
I kept following it over the years and accumulating data. And the 450-page tome Otto Rahn GRAIL HUNTER that lands in U.S. bookstores in August 1 is yeah, the obsessive result of this. Yeah, Otto was also, yeah, Jewish, at least Jewish through his mother, and he was also out gay. So this situation of a gay Jewish heretic Grail hunter working for yeah, the Third Reich immediately provokes, yeah, all kinds of crazy questions, and it's certainly a thought-provoking piece for cancel culture. and not trying to figure out whether Otto Rahn's a good guy or a bad guy, or whether his message should be supported or suppressed. Is it's
Well,
it's a bit of fun.
last year the ACLU said, on record that the Azov Battalion were the good Nazis, so it's okay. So when that happened, we're completely fully, through the looking glass now. I mean,
Yeah, man, that's really through the looking glass.
the good Nazis and the bad Nazis. Do you see that material as something that you could use cinematically in the future, or somebody else would?
Oh no, but it's meant to be a gift to future pulp writers and treasure hunters because there was a point a few years ago where I really thought that the forces of darkness were going to fucking kill me. And I also thought that it was partly because of the of everything that I put together on Rahn and the quest for the Holy Grail and the Grail Castle. So I thought the best thing to do would be to take all of the data if anything would happen to me and reproduce it and send it to as many people as possible. Get it onto other people's hard drives so that it wouldn't end with me. And then as a result, the damn thing is now coming into publication. So very pleased with all that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I wanted to ask you kind of a far out question, but I was rewatching the Lost Soul thing that David Gregory did. I noticed you posted about it recently on Facebook a little bit. Um, what
That's because
became?
Val died.
Yeah, because Val. Yeah, what became of the gentleman who you said was casting the benevolent spells to help you through the production, and then something backfired with him? I forgot his name. I should know. I just heard his
Yeah,
name.
it
Yeah,
sounded
Skip.
like he had gone through quite a few bad things.
Yeah, he's one of the most intelligent people I've ever met, and super smart guy who was a biochemist, but spoke a bunch of different languages and had decent Hebrew, Arabic, and physical chemistry. Could write equations, which I super admired. But yeah, he cast a spell to basically make the island of Dr. Moreau happen and to influence to nudge the events to basically collapse the different potential plot threads into the most desirable paradigm available. Then about a year into the process, Skip started to develop tremendous medical problems. His bones began to crumble,
Mm,
which he claimed was because he'd been um, accidentally irradiated because of the clay wall in his laboratory not being thick enough. But basically, his hips dislocated. He had a double hip replacement. Then caught a flesh-eating virus in the hospital, a form of necrotizing fasciitis, and we really thought he was going to die. And simultaneously, my mother's house got struck by lightning. And Marlon Brando's daughter committed suicide. A hurricane blew in, and everything just vaporized. And, um, and Skip was, we all thought he was a goner. But actually, what happened was it took him a couple of years. And by the time he got out, he was fully addicted to painkillers. So he went into rehab. And then, after about 1 year after, he became a rehab counselor.
mm,
And then, within 2, 3 years of that, he was suddenly like controlling most of the rehab counseling in London. Had built it up into another little cult. And, Skip came back to power again. And the last time I heard, he was actually an advisor to the Dalai Lama. I was solid gone on Tibetan Buddhism, but he's still out there, practicing warlock, now Buddhist monk. But yeah, go Skip. He bounced back. He managed to go through the rehab movement and then did a sort of Chuck Palahniuk move and managed to somehow get on top of the rehab business and yeah, rebuild his occult powers. I do have a lot of respect for the gentleman, and
Okay.
he was a powerful practicing warlock, and one of the few people to have ever met in the West who seemed capable of making things happen or actually doing stuff, which is yeah, something you don't see a lot of. I haven't met a lot of people who yeah, who really do seem imbued with yeah, with true supernatural powers, but I, I think they come along once in a while.
I agree.
Yeah, he was from Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
He was from Florida originally, and he'd learned hypnotism at dentistry school. So, he was a fine hypnotist, but he'd also claimed to have been initiated into voodoo in Maroon Town, Jamaica. He could put my then girlfriend and a lot of my friends into trance really, really fucking easily.
Mm.
Which was also yeah, an impressive Mabuse type talent, and then he was even able to leave key words in their head so that when at a later date he said those words again, they'd snap back into trance together. It's yeah,
Oh, wow.
scarily impressive.
It is.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, he stayed London dentistry school.
So let's get back to your newest releases on home video, since that's something we cover a lot on here. So hardware came out on 4K UHD recently, correct?
Yeah, the hardware now back in action again, and yeah, reintegrated on restored, released on 4K by Umbrella in Australia, and I'm also delighted they finally married the thing with the original Frank Frazetta art for the poster, which was mixed by the Weinsteins back in the day. So it's
Oh,
nice that the film is finally reunited with its original poster art.
oh, wow.
And it's back in its original colors and as intact in as bright and as loud a state as it's ever going to be. So yeah, pleased with that.
What a
Riding
man.
riding on its tail. We're going to get Dust Devil back in circulation too.
Yes. What's going on with that? As far as the restoration, is it kind of like what you did with subversive cinema? Is it the same masters or?
No, I think a decent master has finally been sourced in the MGM vault, and I've got no legal control over it, but I think Lorber are going to put it out first, and then we'll probably see it from Umbrella, and we'll see where it goes from there. But literally, just going through the grade on the print. So yeah, a full Dust Devil will follow, which
Oh,
I
wow.
think is overdue
It
because
is.
yeah, not a lot of people have even seen that one in its full state, and it's a weird time capsule now from like yeah, a very different world.
I've watched it so many times, and I just think
Hmm.
there's so many layers to it. And
Oh
one
yeah.
one guy who was briefly with our show, well, wanted to be with our show, said that he was going to review it because we were doing the thing on black cinema, and he said, "What do you think about Dust Devil?" I said, "I haven't approached it from that angle, but yeah, I mean, the two most sane heroic characters are African American, sorry, African men, and I thought that was cool, but then he never showed up to do it, but it's something that we'll definitely cover that film because it means a lot to me, and to have Kino Lorber would make sense because that MGM catalog is amazing. The stuff that they've unearthed are incredible, and they're incredibly affordable too, which is like kind of staggering in this day and age. Uh, so I wish you a lot of luck with that and our ability to get a hold of it. Is Umbrella the release for hardware? Is that in a region one Is that a region free something that people here could get?
Yeah, I think it's region free.
Okay.
It's, as far as I know, I think it's certainly accessible.
Okay. Okay. Good.
No, I don't see revenues from it or nothing, but it's a nice copy. And it's good to see the beast back out there, and yeah, I'm glad that yeah, the three main movies are in circulation.
Are you attaching any of your shorts again to any of these releases, like you did with the Subversive Cinema release?
Um, yeah, not unless they ask me. There's a few bits and pieces on the Umbrella release. And yeah, I also gave them access to the original storyboards and the original continuity Polaroids and the shooting script and a bunch of bits and pieces.
Awesome. Well, at least we can hope that more people will see your work, and maybe that will get you more work
Yeah,
and more positive energy into your life that you deserve.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I just need to be shooting some more stuff, which is the main thing. But, do want to be yeah, shooting movies again and spending less time witch hunting. I got to say that someday between now and death, I would really like to get out a manuscript account of what really happened on the island of Dr. Moreau,
Mhm.
because I think it's important to note that although I endorse Lost Soul, it's a partial account. It's still creating its own narrative, but every single person in the film is lying a little for different reasons. It's just the way it is, and when everyone's changing a little and making themselves more central to the anecdote or coloring it a little.
Yeah,
The whole thing ends up being a little woozy and a little off. Plus, it largely only covers material which is lighter in tone and skirts around the yeah, the real heart of darkness stuff. The yeah, like suicide or yeah, some of the yeah, the actual insanity that was going on. So
hmm
I do think there's room for a especially now that yeah, Val and Marlon aren't with us anymore to try and one day get out an actual survivor's account of the island of Dr. Moreau.
well said. uh, so when Dust Devil comes out, maybe we can have you back on and talk. And you can tell us what the whole history of that. But
Mm.
for another time, you feel okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay, because
Yeah.
I've
yeah,
I've
fair
read a
enough.
lot, but I'd love, and you've told me some, but I'd love to hear it all because of rewatching it the other day for about the 100th time. I was explaining to Chuck about the cuts, or trying to, and the Weinsteins, and I think it seemed crazy to him, which it was crazy, Chuck. I mean, it's not you,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah, well,
only what I know.
it all went wrong. You know, everything was uh, plunged out of control for a while. It's it's brutal times, and knowing some of those folk personally, I, I, I have no comment.
Okay, fair enough.
Mm.
Well, we don't want to take any more of your time, but you've given me a lot to think about. So maybe we can have you back on in a while, and you're always welcome here. Chuck, do you have any last remarks for Richard or questions?
Not particularly. I guess if we have you back on talking about Dust Devil, I'll probably have a bunch of stuff to ask about that. I saw it for the first time this past week and was absolutely riveted by it. It was just a fantastic film. And
Mercy, thank you.
uh,
You those shots of the mountain, were you in a helicopter shooting those? Like where Chelsea Field is standing over that giant divide?
Yeah, and I could tell you some tales about that movie, that's for sure. But
Cool.
Yeah, those were the days that everything were helicopters and cranes and dolly and track. It was a different kind of filmmaking, and
It just looks
we
so
had
good, though.
yeah, we only had the helicopter for some days, of course, didn't have the helicopter all the time. So yeah, we achieved maximum helicopter material by our budget for our budget by having all a lot of those events going on simultaneously. Then like flew the helicopter over them. So we had some people like driving in the red Volkswagen on the road and a girl standing on the edge of the canyon and all the different things as much as we could. We tried to line them up so the helicopter would fly from one crazy thing to another, and yeah, capture as much as possible. And the helicopter pilot was a grizzled South African crazy guy who was missing a bunch of his fingers, and who I remember kept falling asleep the whole time because of the desert sun going through the rotor blades was hypnotizing him.
Ooh,
What became of
ooh.
the gentleman who played the shaman with the missing fingers? I forgot the
Um,
actor's name.
John Matshikiza.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, John's brilliant in Dust Devil, and yeah, I'm sorry he ain't around, but yeah, he yeah got became the director of a big theater in Johannesburg after the end of apartheid, and yeah, went back to South Africa, and then yeah got yeah carjacked and yeah killed by a gang.
What?
Ooh.
I never knew that.
Yeah,
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
Good
Very,
sorry
very,
to
Lord.
hear
very,
that.
very, 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 very unfortunate. It's because, yeah, I absolutely love John. John was nothing like that character either. He was a lecturer who has been lecturing on political science at Yale, and he was a very dapper, good-looking, very well-spoken guy, and
Well,
he's absolutely in character yeah, as the witch doctor.
he's kind of like the omen of everything to come in the movie. But to me, he's the hero of the movie. That's just my read of the movie, though. But
Yeah.
of course, I
Yeah, there's something to that because he's also the drive-in projectionist and I didn't want to tail it with the guy in the drive-in auditorium because the movie's kind of like a deranged drive-in movie.
yeah.
It's sort of what would happen if you crashed a western into a police procedural into a road movie romance, and it's got yeah, it sometimes feels like the like it's all happening in yeah in Joe's drive-in.
Oh, that's brilliant. All right. Well, listen, Richard, we're going to let you go, and we appreciate your time. Uh, We'd like to thank Richard Stanley for being here and for sharing information about his work and what he's got going as far as projects and what he has on the horizon. And I just want to personally say, Richard, I'm very proud to know you and be your friend, and I'm really behind you as far as getting through all of the tribulations you've had to contend with all these years, just trying to be who you are and express your art. So,
That's the Amiga, and yeah, I wish you guys all a belated blessed Beltane out there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, I hope you all manage to somehow stay alive and stay sane in this weird world.
you as
Oh,
well, sir.
that's always the goal. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, sir, for being with us.
And anybody watching, like and subscribe, please. Thank you for watching.
And it's true that we cannot see that far behind. If we looked all the way in the past, we'd go blind. In the night, from the stars as they've all lived their lives, and the light that they gave as they burned and then died.